Many years ago, in the village of Umojima, there was a young lady named Ezinne, the daughter of Anansi and Ifeoma. Ezinne was the only daughter of her parents who were successful farmers. Ezinne was a beautiful and well-behaved lady. Something honorable was about to happen in her family, as her good friend Obinna has asked for her hand in marriage. Ezinne and Obinna have been friends since childhood. They like each other very well and have finally decided to formalize their relationship. Anozie, Ezinne's father, was very pleased with the news, especially for the fact that his daughter did not bring shame to his household. Anozie went to inform his two brothers about the good news so as to start the preparation for the wedding rites. Anozie's elder brother Ikenna was very pleased with the news, whereas his younger brother Azuka seemed indifferent. Rather than congratulating his brother, Azuka asked Anozie, "Why are you rushing to give your daughter out in marriage? She's just a little girl. Or is she pregnant?" At this, Ikenna, their elder brother, shunned Azuka, warning him never to repeat such mean words. Ikenna told Azuka, "You should be praying that your three unmarried daughters find favor like Ezinne and get married too. Or do you want them to grow old in your house?" Ikenna then went on to tell Anozie to inform his in-laws to come and get the list of the bride price. On the morning of the day fixed for the wedding of Ezinne, her uncle Ikenna sent his son Amadi to go to the village palm wine tapper and buy 2 kegs of fresh palm wine, which was to be used for the wedding. When Amadi brought the kegs of palm wine, he carried it and followed his father to Anozie's compound, which was set for the ceremony of the day. Anozie was very grateful to his elder brother for being thoughtful and kind. Inside the house, Ezinne is being dressed up by her friends. They are very happy for her and went on and on asking her about her husband-to-be, Obinna. At the back of the house, Ezinne's mother, Ifeoma, is cooking a very big pot of egusi soup, while her friends are helping her to pound fufu and prepare the abacha. Everyone was very happy and kind enough to help in their own little way. Finally, Obinna came with his people, and only 10 minutes after they arrived, did Azuka, Anozie's younger brother, arrive. Ikenna and Anozie ignored him and focused on their in-laws. After the ceremony, Ezinne followed her husband and his people home. Poor Ezinne. She did not know that the happiest day of her life was about to be the saddest day, causing a stigma in her life. That night, before the marriage got consummated, Obinna fell into a deep sleep, making it impossible for him to perform his conjugal duties with Ezinne. Early the next morning, Ezinne woke the village up with a loud cry. "Ewo! Umojimale!" She ran out of the house crying. People gathered immediately, only to find out that Obinna was dead. A very tragic news indeed. Ezinne was uncontrollable. She threw herself on the floor and wept bitterly. People were confused. They asked, "Did he not just get married yesterday? How come he is dead? Was he sick before?" In the midst of the confusion and wailing, Azuka, Ezinne's younger uncle, started to say, I knew something was wrong. My spirit never deceives me. I was never in support of this marriage. Now look at what has happened. His wife, on hearing him, quickly pulled him away and begged him not to say such things again, to avoid people accusing him of having a hand in the tragedy. Azuka shrugged his shoulders and left. It was the law in Umojima that on the account that a marriage was not consummated before the husband dies, the woman is to return to her father's house. And so Ezinne returned home and mourned Obinna for months. 1 year later, Ezinne caught the attention of a young man named Ifeanyi. He wasted no time in coming with his people to pay Ezinne's bride price. Unfortunately, the affliction that struck in her first marriage struck again, and Ifeanyi also died on the night of their wedding. This time around, it was different. Instead of pity, the villagers felt disgust and hatred for Ezinne, and they started to say mean things about her. They said, once might be an accident, but twice is definitely not an accident, not even a coincidence. Ezinne must be a witch. They even went as far as telling their sons and daughters to stay away from Ezinne if they did not want to die. Ezinne lost all her friends. She became stigmatized and no one dare came closer to her, not even her cousins, Azuka's 3 daughters. In her misery, it was only her cousin Amadi, Ikenna's son, that came to keep her company. Ezinne and Amadi had been close from childhood, and even this stigma did not stop Amadi from associating with Ezinne. He saw her as the younger sister he never had. As the stigma continued, life became unbearable for Ezinne in Umojima, and her parents decided that she should go to her maternal village where no one knew about her ordeal, so that she can start life afresh. Ezinne agreed and prepared to go to Umuakpa, her mother's village. However, before she left, she told Amadi about it and he wished her luck. In Umuakpa, Ezinne started a new life, and because of her excellent character and beauty, she soon attracted young men who were ready to marry her immediately. At first, Ezinne was scared because of the past occurrences, but after being convinced by her mother and Amadi, who visits her once in a while, to be positive, she decided to give in and accept one of the marriage proposals. Hmm, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. The same tragedy happened for the third time, and Ezinne was shattered. She swore never to get married again in her life. She felt guilty for the lives of those young men that have been lost, and she even wished herself dead. She decided to return to her father's land and live each day at a time, but she was certain that she would never risk getting married again. Akachukwu had just returned to Umujima after completing the duration of his Igba boy Nnewi. He has been observing Ezinne for a while now and noticed that she seemed different and detached, unlike other girls in the village. He knew there was something special about her, and he soon began to ask people about her. To his surprise, Anyone he asked screamed "Tufiakwa" and immediately walked away. He was confused and decided to ask his mother. When he described Ezinne to his mother immediately flared up, warning him never to talk about her again. Akachukwu was shocked and asked his mother the reason for her outbursts. She didn't say anything. Akachukwu asked, "Is she an outcast?" His mother replied, "She is worse than an outcast. Just listen to me and don't ever ask about her again." Akachukwu was baffled, but he decided that night to get to the bottom of the matter. The next day, he went to the road that leads to Ezinne's family's farm, waiting for when Ezinne would pass the road. He had not waited for long when he saw Ezinne approaching. He went up to her, but as he tried to speak, she turned to the opposite direction and ran away. Akachukwu looked on, more confused than he was before. He was not going to give up, so the next day he went and hid in her father's farm, waiting for her to come. When she arrived, he quietly came out and said softly, "I don't know why everyone thinks you are a curse or why you ran away from me yesterday. But I want you to know that I am harmless and I just want to be your friend." Ezinne was shocked that this strange man could dare to approach her. Has he not heard? She thought to herself. She could not run away at this time, and so she said, "Please stay away from me. It is for your own good. Don't let anyone see you standing here with me." Akachukwu asked her instead, "What is your name? Nobody would even mention your name to me." She told him, "My name is Ezinne. Please leave now." Akachukwu replied, "Okay, I'll leave, but just know that I won't give up." Ezinne was very worried. It's been 4 years since any man spoke to her. She felt pity for this young man and wished he would go back to where he came from. Akachukwu, on the other hand, was very determined to break the conspiracy of silence around Ezinne. And so he went to the village bar, bought a cup of palm wine for the well-known village drunkard. With this, the drunkard told him that Ezinne had married several husbands, but they all died on the wedding night. He went on to warn him not to say a word about this to anyone, as it was an abomination in the village. At that instance, Akachukwu understood the reason for the discrimination, but he found it weird that nobody has tried to help her. The next time he saw Ezinne, he told her that he knew about the problem she has, but he is not afraid as he will help her and marry her. Ezinne was shocked and she went off to tell her mother about this. Her mother was shocked too, but she told Ezinne to loosen up and watch how things unfolded. Who knows? He might be destined to put an end to all these things. From that day, Ezinne started to loosen up, and she and Akachukwu grew closer. People soon began to see them together, and they started to talk. When Akachukwu's mother found out, she was livid and scolded Akachukwu. She even went as far as going to warn Ezinne's mother to tell her witch daughter to remove the spell she has cast on her son. However, in spite of his mother's warning and cries, Akachukwu was bent on marrying Ezinne. What they did not know was that Akachukwu had already told his pastor at Nnewi, and his pastor assured him that the evil spirits responsible for this must be exposed. The next day, Akachukwu went to see Ezinne. He told her that he wants to come and see her people. But before Ezinne could protest, he told her that before the marriage, he would like to invite a powerful man of God to pray in her father's house, if she doesn't mind. Ezinne sighed and said, we have called several native doctors before and pastors, but nothing changed. How am I sure that this one will save anything? I don't want to lose you. I'll prefer we remain friends and you are alive than to get married and lose you. Please, Aka, it is for your own interests. Akachukwu looked at her and assured her, just trust me, we will conquer it together this time. On the appointed day, the pastor came with two prayer warriors and Akachukwu led them to Ezinne's house. Ezinne had already informed her parents and they were all waiting for Akachukwu and the pastor. They arrived shortly and soon began to pray. As the prayer intensified, the pastor got a revelation and called their attention to it. He said, there is an enemy within, a friendly enemy who has tormented for long. Ezinne and her parents looked at themselves with confusion on their faces. The pastor continued, do you have any other family member? Anansi answered, I have two brothers and their families. The pastor told him to send for them to come, as this is going to be a family liberation. Ikenna and Azuka soon arrived with their wives and children, all looking confused. As soon as they reached, the pastor intensified his prayers, supported by his two prayer warriors. What happened next shocked everyone. Azuka grew impatient and wanted to leave. When Ikenna started to shout, who brought this man here? He has not even finished speaking when he fell to the ground in pain, screaming for help. Everyone was surprised, and Anansi wanted to help his brother up when the pastor stopped him. Don't touch him, the pastor said. God will expose the secret enemy today. Speak in the name of Jesus. Ikenna then started to confess. Please forgive me. I don't know what possessed me to do what I did. I was jealous of my brothers because they had daughters while I had none. I was jealous that their daughters would marry men who would start bringing lots of gifts for them. I casted a spell on Ezinne that made all her husbands to die on their wedding nights. At this point, Ezinne fell to the ground crying, while everyone shouted, Eh? Ikenna continued. When she went to Umakpa, I still got information about her from Amadi my son, and I was able to manipulate her wedding from here. That was why I wasn't bothered about stopping Amadi's friendship with Ezinne. He was my eyes. I also made Azuka's 3 daughters to remain unmarried. I casted a spell on them that made them look ugly whenever any man sees them. Please forgive me, I regret my actions. Everyone was shocked and scared, including Amadi and his mother. The pastor went on to pray for the spells to be broken and also for Ikenna to be forgiven. After the pastor and his group had left, Ikenna called his brothers and their families and begged for everyone's forgiveness. Azuka was more angry because his elder brother had always acted in a righteous manner, not knowing that he was the real devil. However, after much pleading, they all forgave him and reconciled. Akachukwu came with his people to pay Ezinne's bride price, and they became married. The next day after their wedding, Akachukwu was the first to wake Ezinne up. On seeing him alive, Ezinne heaved a sigh of relief. Akachukwu later opened a shop in Nnewi, and he took Ezinne with him to live in Nnewi. Azuka's daughters also started to attract suitors, and in less than 1 year, they all got married. The moral of this story is for us to be careful with whom we trust. Most times, the people we think are our enemies might be harmless, while those friendly ones can be the real enemies. Also, whenever someone wants to harm us, the easiest way for them to